Ladies and gentlemen, this is Align Mask.
And this is Ender.
And today's episode, well, how about this? I'll let you do the introduction of what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so today we are continuing with our theory with the whole FNAF series and all that stuff. If you haven't heard from our last podcast, we talked about a little bit about the movie, or I discussed more a little bit about the movie, which we're still going to probably continue more on. But we're also going to start talking more about the whole FNAF series and how we think about it and what our theories are about the whole FNAF.
And this is just a little FYI in case some of you guys catch me of saying something stupid or, saying something that's not correct. As I said in the previous podcast, or maybe I haven't said it yet, I'm not 100% a huge fan of it. I know the game. I know somewhat of the backstory. But earlier, Ender has actually introduced me to a few videos to watch. So now I have a bigger understanding of what Five Nights is really about and what really is going on in the game.
Yeah. We got most of these ideas and theories from, of course, Matt Pat. If you don't know who he is, go check out his YouTube channel at Matt Pat Game Theories. He talks a lot in detail from all the FNAF stuff and everything like that.
I'll most likely add a link at the bottom of the screen, so that way if you guys are feeling too lazy, I don't really want to type that in, I'll add a link so you guys could just click on it, automatically go straight to his channel.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get started into the FNAF series. So, from knowing all about the FNAF and all that stuff, knowing that, okay, there's a mass killer, which we know as William Afton, who teams up with his former partner/enemy, Henry. Do you think that what they're doing, teaming up wise, is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, here's a question I have. Does Henry know that's his rival, right? The purple guy, or what was his real name was William, right?
Yes.
Does Henry know that William hated him? Did he know that, or did he not know about that?
He probably didn't know about that until of the whole, coincidence that started happening, and the reason why is, business started shutting down. So maybe at first he didn't hate him, but William did, so...
Because, if he didn't know that William hated him, obviously it's a good idea, because think of it this way. Let's say that, you started a company or you started something and you have all these great ideas. All of a sudden, I showed up and I basically ripped you off. I did the exact same thing you did, but somehow I did it better than you. Now, obviously, you're going to hate me about it, but I don't know that you're hating me about it. So you call me up and say, hey, you have this idea, I have this idea, let's partner up and we can make our business even better. And I said, yeah.
Yeah. But, what's your honest opinion? Do you think that those two should have worked together in the beginning?
Like I said before, I kind of got into the story, so I'm not 100% sure how this all played out. But, did Henry know him beforehand? Or did he
when they were younger...
They knew each other?
Well, when they were younger, not really, because, when you saw the whole FNAF and everything like that, Henry, he found out that he was going against someone by the name of Henry, okay? When he started his own business, when William started his own business, he found out that he had someone that was going for him and doing the exact same thing, but, with better, more higher qualities and all that stuff. So these two haven't known each other at all when they were young, kids and all that stuff. I don't know much about Henry's history besides the fact that he was young, he started going to engineering, and then slowly started going into the whole Fazbear thing. Where William was more he was inspired as a kid, he probably got it continuing forth in a family business, and slowly started trying to make a business and all that stuff.
So what was I going to say? So basically what I'm asking is if they knew each other in the past, and if Henry knew that William hated him, that's basically a no in both questions. So it's okay, yeah. In Henry's point of view, this is a good idea because, you're expanding your company and you're hey, we got two people working together, making this company a better company than we could imagine. And now we could, make a lot of money out of it.
Yeah.
So me personally, I think it was a good idea.
Okay. Me personally, when I've learned so much about the history with Afton and all that stuff, I really thought it wasn't much of a good idea because, like, going off from like Matt Pap's videos and every theory thing, Henry was the one that actually decided to make the animatronics like live like and all that stuff with the engineering that he learned and all that stuff. I do give credit that William actually started trying to do a business, where he wanted to have a bunny and a bear and they dance and they sing and to children and all that stuff. He's the one that created with it. Henry was the one that basically took his idea and made it better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Henry basically stole William's idea. William got mad about it, and ever since like Henry's thing started going up, William's like thing started going down. And since Henry started seeing that the other business who actually started the thing was just slowly going into bankrupt, he wanted to help him so they can partner up and continue doing the thing. Now that was a nice thing that he did so that, they can work together and all that stuff. But as we move forward and understanding more...
Well, before we move forward, so did Henry know about Five Nights?
Well, you didn't really let me finish what I was going to say. Because I said, as we start to, like, move forward, we get a better understanding. Like, these two shouldn't have, like, started a company to begin with. But if they decided to actually do start a company with, they shouldn't have, like, had huge differences from, like, William wanting something to do something powerful, like, awesome, and then Henry just declining it and refusing it, saying he doesn't want that in a Fazbear or any type of, like, pizzeria he and him are doing together.
Right. And whose idea was it for the animatronics to, like, roam around the restaurant? Was that Henry or was that William's idea?
That was Williams. Williams wanted to be more creative instead of having them, like, up on the stage and all that stuff, that they can roam around the pizzeria, greeting kids, doing small little entertainments, all that little, like, cute things, so that kids would be like, oh my goodness, I can actually see this animatronic and, like, get to touch it and, like, it's real and all that kind of stuff.
And did Henry deny that? He was like, no, we shouldn't do that.
Henry's the one that said that doesn't seem like a safe idea.
I could see Henry's idea because, like, again, these are just robots roaming around and, they could tend to hurt people or, I don't know if you know this, but when I went to Disneyland, there was this ride called the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and one thing they tell you is, like, you're not allowed to take pictures of the animatronics because the flashing lights will, fuck them up and ruin their circuit breaks or, whatever. So it's like, obviously, you got these little kids, want to go up to Freddy and, hug him and touch him. And maybe parents are going to be like, oh, yeah, take a picture of him, stand right next to him. And, now you got all these flash cameras going off. It's going to mess up Freddy. And, before you know it, he's going off, going crazy, doing things. So it's like, I understand Henry's point of view.
Yeah, I can also understand it too, because not only because of, like, the whole flashing and all that kind of stuff, but don't forget, these are little kids. They are able to, like, fit their fingers through places that they're not supposed to be. They can pull on wires, they can cut themselves, they can hurt themselves. This is a big, I don't even know how tall they are, probably, like, I'm going to say, like, 9 feet tall-ish. Around 9 feet tall.
I would say at least 6 feet, because that's like,
I'm gonna say around at least like 7. Okay, not 9 feet tall, like 7 to 8 feet tall, roughly around there. Okay, and these little kids who are like really small and really tiny, just climbing on these things. These things are metal. These things are heavy. They're very like
exactly. They can tip over.
They can tip over. They can hurt the kids. It's a lot of like you have. There's this huge metal mechanic thing.
There's like too many freaking lawsuits that could possibly happen having these things roaming around.
Yeah.
But it's like I get William's idea. It's like, William is trying to make a fantasy a reality. Like
he's trying to make look realistic, live-like, so that it would bring more attention into his pizzeria and make more profit and all that stuff that he is getting right now. But since with the whole issue that I could see from Henry's point of view that he doesn't want it, William then tends to start getting like upset at Henry and saying this isn't fair. So then as, continue on with the timeline, he starts to make like own robots, that are flexible, that are okay, that work a lot more better than how you would have like the normal 5 from like the first game and the normal 5 from like the second game.
Right. So it's like you get both point of views, but it's like you will more likely like stick with Henry. It's like you see his. It's either would you rather A, make this place more fun and more excited, or B, you want this place to be safe?
I mean, I would go for both ends, saying I would want to make it fun and exciting for kids and all that stuff, but I also want to make sure that it's not too dangerous and it's safe for kids to do, like to join, to come, to play around, to, see all this, like, imaginary thing where these animatronics are singing and dancing and, it's like I want to make it look so not too realistic, but I want it to make it look good and fun so that, kids start to enjoy it more and be like, oh my goodness, like, I love, like, how the animatronics are dancing and singing. I love to dance with them. Like, you also get pizza and soda and candy and all that stuff. And it's just, you want to, like, try to put smiles on the little ones.
Right. And, well, I'm, like, thinking, too, like, after Freddy and, his friends do their shows and do all that, I don't know if you've ever been at Chuck E. Cheese before or seen this before.
I have been at Chuck E. Cheese.
And you know how, like, at the end of the show, they always close the curtains and, that's when they have, like, little TVs on top, like, play, like, Chuck E.'s friends and all that. Like, after they have the curtains closed, they'll actually have someone in a mascot dressed as Chuck E. Cheese.
Which is terrifying, by the way.
And, he'll be around and be with the kids. I was like, I wonder why they didn't come up with that idea. I mean, that was basically William's first idea, wasn't it, with that bunny suit?
Well, he has came up with those ideas where if they don't want to play anymore and all that stuff, they do have, like, people, like, remember, we're going into, like, the first ever, like, pizzeria with Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, where they were able to, like, have people inside the suits so people can, dance and, well, not dance, like, be a part, go around with the kids, talking with them, chatting with them, have all that stuff. But if you don't know much about spring locks are very, very deadly towards humans. A slight wrong move, any type of water contact, or just not winding them up fully correctly will result in the spring locks locking into your skin and killing you.
Right.
And I don't know, I mean, you'd have to learn more about, like, the whole, like, tapes and stuff, which I'll probably get you more into. But during the tapes that are, not okay for kids, you get a better understanding of, like, how spring locks work, and if you do tend to get in one, you immediately have to stay calm. You have to keep your body, like, not freaking out or anything, because with higher levels and higher, like, like, stuff in your body and all that stuff is gonna make the pain more painful.
Right.
So when you found out about, like, seeing with, like, spring locks happening and all that stuff on William Afton, you get a better understanding that, okay, spring locks are not good in wet conditions, but don't forget, these are older spring locks, not the brand new ones that came out a while ago. These were old. I don't specifically know how old. Maybe like 3-4 years old. I'm going to say around there. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. Like, it's been so long since I was in this whole FNAF stuff, and I'm still, trying to remember most of it. But I know the pure details.
And I'm still trying to learn about it. Because when I first heard of the game, all I know about it was, this is just one of those horror games. You're a security guard. You got to keep the animatronics out, survive for the night, and there, you win. That's what I mostly know about the game. But now, thanks to Ender, I was able to find out even more about the purple guy and the puppet and what Freddy is and who he is. So now I got more of an understanding of Five Nights at Freddy's, and now I kind of get a little better understanding of the upcoming, what was it, a movie or a TV show on Netflix?
Upcoming movie.
Is it a movie?
It is a movie with the new FNAF and all that stuff. Once you understand more about why, you know, like the movie is becoming how it is and like how it slowly comes out. I don't know specifically when the movie is supposed to come out. It's being filmed right now during the time of the month, which, yay, I can't wait because I've been dying to see this movie. And I keep seeing a lot of people on TikTok where it's just like, people are traumatized with the whole spring locks thing, and I'm just that one person that's just happy and smiling and clapping because I know exactly what happens.
So you're excited about it, but is there anything that you might get disappointed out of it? Because I've seen like on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, like people are saying like, oh my god, I don't think this movie's a good idea because they added white gloves, or they're not going to have this, they're going to edit that.
I mean, in my personal experience, I'm like 50-50 on it because I know there's not a lot that happened in the first ever game, because this is applying on to the first ever Five Nights at Freddy's, which you have Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, and Chica, which I love that they're actually using the first ever game that started this whole thing back in 2014. And I love it. But I know some people are getting mad about the fact that they're having white gloves. But don't forget, the first ever game started in the 1980s. Yes, 1980s. And I know that with the whole Chuck E. Cheese thing, I don't remember what year it was, but I know they had like some animatronics with white gloves. I think there was one, it was a gorilla who had white gloves. And I can see that because this is an old style restaurant that you're taking back in the 1980s, and you don't want it to look exactly like it because you're not trying to copyright it on it. Now, I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, I don't like it because it's this, or like, I don't like it because it looks like the exact real thing. I get that. I understand that. I don't like it either. But don't forget, you can't copyright an actual game and make it look like the exact thing. Like, if you're taking a random game and, like, adding it as a movie and just copyrighting it, you can legally get charged for that.
Well, technically, they're already copyrighting it as it is right now.
Well, not a lot of it. There's still a few things that they change and all that stuff by adding Vanessa, who was never in the first game to begin with. You know, they're adding, like, small details. Like, you have William Afton, you have Michael, you have Michael's little sister. You don't have the crying child, which is a really sad thing because I'm not saying I really want to see the whole tragic story. I just want to like see, you know, because that's the whole bite of 83, and that's the whole start of the. I
was gonna say, like, wasn't that like one of the main things in the story?
It would have been the whole reason why, you know, William Afton decided to start killing and all that stuff. Because then you get a better understanding. Like, you have, like, let's say it's, like, 1982, and that's where, like, the thing, or it starts in, like, 1983. And you see kids running around and all that kind of stuff. And
is that an official? Like, they officially say, like, yeah, we're not going to add that in the movie? Or is that something you just heard?
I don't know specifically if it is going to be in there or not. Like I said, I don't know much about the movie or what's actually going in. All I know is that they're making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. They have the characters. They added Vanessa, who was never in there to begin with, but I don't know exactly why Vanessa's in the game to begin with. And they're changing it to having the characters to have white gloves. Because if you notice on the sign that they pre-made, prefix, and all that kind of stuff, you get a better understanding to think like, okay, this isn't going to be the exact same Five Nights at Freddy's, but it'll be a lot different. I've seen trailers of like how the FNAF is going to go, how like, you know, you hear about it and all that stuff, and it's interesting, and I really like it. It's just, you need to add like the high events in the movie to get a better understanding as you like, you know, go through and watch it and you know, get a better understanding that, oh my goodness, that's the killer. He became a killer because the whole incident happened with his son, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's better to like have a tragic event that happen, but at the same time, I don't know specifically.
Do you think that they're gonna change that in the movie?
I don't specifically know. In
No, but
my
like in your opinion, in your thought.
I hope not. I would not want that because if they actually do not add that in the real reason why Fredbear decided, to actually,
Yeah, became the killer and all that stuff.
or, like why they actually decided to make a FNAF movie, then what's the point of making it if you're not going to add tragic events that happen actually during the game?
Well, the reason why I asked that is because, like, for example, we've been watching The Last of Us, the TV series, and there's a lot of things they changed in that show compared to the game. So it's like, that's what I'm kind of after watching, what was it, Matt Pat? After, him explaining, like, okay, in the game, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. It's like, okay, all these things happen. Obviously, they're not going to add every little thing in the movie. They're going to have to at least take some things out, or they're going to have to, like, instead of, like, I know in the game this happened, but how about instead of that, this happened?
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's probably what they'll do. Maybe they won't put the exact, like, event that happened or what happened to, the crying child and all that stuff. Maybe they won't do it. Maybe it could be a flashback. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe it's a thought. Maybe it's a bad dream, that example Michael has. And then eventually, or not Michael, William has. And then eventually it happens, And it's like this whole conflict happens and you're just like, wait, hold on. And that gives you like a better, trying to like understand, wait, so if that happened in the real game of FNAF, like the actual game of itself, and they made that directly into the movie, then that's probably how it actually all started to begin with.
Because, like, in the game, I honestly didn't know until, I started watching Matt Pat that these animatronics, they're actually being possessed by kids. I honestly thought
The
it
dead
was...
kids, yes.
Yeah, by the dead kids. I honestly didn't know that. I thought these were just, like, robots. Their system is glitching or whatever, and for whatever reason, they decided to kill the security guard. I thought that was actually really interesting. I was like, okay, yeah, I can actually get into this game. This game is actually getting more interesting than I thought. And then, when Matt Pat started to explain about the guy, the phone guy is the killer because, if you listen to the phone guy, he's like saying like, oh yeah, there's this puppet guy, but I don't like him. And obviously William doesn't like the puppet guy for a certain reason. And then like William, I don't know, like the phone guy says like he likes Foxy. And then like if you play the mini games, one of the mini games you play as Foxy, and then that's where you see the killer, the purple guy, standing right there, and he looks all happy to see Foxy. So it's like I kind of understand why you will think the phone guy is the killer because he's explaining all these things, and it's as if he's little exposing himself. Like, yeah, I'm the one who killed these kids.
Yeah, I know you didn't get much into detail about all the kids' names and stuff, but I'm willing to help you that there are 5 kids, okay, that he lures in. Susie, Fritz, Gabe, Cassidy, and Michael. Susie was the first, which you've heard about because she goes in Chica's body and you hear Chica say, I was the first. I have seen everything. You have Gabriel, which is in Freddy, Michael, who's in Bonnie, Fritz and Freddy, or Fritz and Foxy. Where would Cassidy be? In Golden Freddy. Because after finding out with the Afton theory, with the whole timeline of like what I heard from Matt Pat, Cassidy was the only one with the most deadliest, brutal kill ever. And that's why he put her in Golden Freddy's body because he is lifeless. He doesn't have an endoskeleton or anything. He just sits there, lifeless, dead, broken, not moving or anything. He just sits there and lays like a broken child or a broken record that just sits there and doesn't do anything. So those are actually all the names of each of the kid because it goes Susie. I don't know the correct order, but I think it might go Susie, Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, then Cassidy. Because I know Cassidy's last and Susie's first.
Did William kill the kids like with those animatronics, or
what he did was he lured them one by one. So you know the spring bunny suit.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like people can climb into the spring bunny suit.
Mm-hmm.
He climbed into the spring bunny suit and he lured them one by one, saying that he would offer like cakes or cookies or candies. And as he kept like luring them into the back rooms, into the back storage room, that's where he killed them, and he took them out one by one until there were four. First off, he took out all the 4 kids in there, and then he went extreme and eventually took out Cassidy because he was out of control and he was going way wire, and you know, he was being too much, and to the point where he basically kind of like just beating up a fucking child with a bag over their head, just bashing them and everything, you know, and just instantly finds out that it was, you know, brutal and fatal, and that's when he realized that he shouldn't have gone that far.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a better understanding. It's that, okay, after he lured these 5 kids into a back room, he killed them. The puppet, who was the first kid, who was Henry's daughter, I don't know her name, I forgot, but Henry's daughter, I remember it sooner or later. Henry's daughter was in the soul puppet because Henry's daughter was left outside. I don't know specifically why she was left outside. I think maybe it's because she was probably trapped or something and didn't have like a wristband or anything like that. And
yeah, because I think the way he explained it was she was locked out, so maybe that was the reason why.
Yeah, so she was like locked out of the pizza place and all that stuff. She didn't have a wristband or anything. And William comes back from, you know, drinking so much for the loss of his death of his son and everything like that, sees her, takes revenge, kills her, gets away with it. It's interesting to know that, like, a man like William just gets away with it. Even though Henry knew about it, but they couldn't put any evidence, like, leading to it.
Yeah, they couldn't. Like, Henry knew, because it's like, it's just too obvious, but it's like, you don't have the proof for it, so we can't do much about it.
Yeah. So it's like a better understanding of just like, okay, we can't prove that it's this man, but we'll keep an eye out to see if it actually is him, because you have that first killing, then you have the 5 kids killing, and then you go to the second Five Nights at Freddy's 2, he goes and kills again 5 more kids, which I don't know the names, but he kills 5 more kids, and then he dies.
Mm-hmm.
But then he comes back to life, and then you see him in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which is very interesting. And yeah, as the story goes on, you tend to understand that he's immortal. He's in this suit because they're trying to punish him and make him regret killing them in the first place.
Right. What was I going to say? So, in the game, you're the security guard. Obviously, you know, you get to check the cameras, making sure where everyone's at, and then, you know, when they get to close, you close the doors. He explains that there is a room which is called the safe room. Like, what was the point of the room?
So the safe room is basically called like so actually you're talking about like the one from FNAF 2. So I don't think you would see it or know it if you actually see most of the clips in FNAF 2. But there is a safe room right behind where you are. In the thing, but you can't see it because you don't know it's there to begin with. But everyone knows that there's a safe room back behind there, and that's where you would go if the animatronics tend to like way higher and all that stuff. But they're also talking about the safe rooms that like in the back rooms where all the animatronics and all that stuff were there and it's closed. Or you're talking about the one from like all the way in FNAF 2 where you go down that hallway and you see that door and it says like staff only kind of thing, and that's another safe. Like, there is always a safe room, and it's either something about in the back rooms, part back of where all of, like, the parts, the animatronics, the endoskeleton, the tools, everything that's in there, that's the safe rooms. But you also have one that's in the back, which I don't really talk about. So they're most likely just talking about the 2 security, like, the built rooms with all the stuff and everything like that. Those are the safe rooms.
Well, the one I wanted to talk about was, basically, the camera doesn't work in that one.
That's the kitchen. And are you talking about the first ever
Was that
camera?
the kitchen one?
Are you talking about the first game? There's that one camera that doesn't...
I think it was the first game because I got the...
That's the kitchen.
I got the Help Wanted. Is that what where you have like all the games, not all the games, but you have like majority of the games or something like that?
Not really. There is. I don't think there. I mean, if you're in Help Wanted, you have that one camera. Okay, so if you're playing Help Wanted, you still play the games from FNAF 1 to FNAF 4. And yes, you know, if you play
How many is there?
there's 8 games.
Ooh, that's a lot.
There's a lot of games. But I know you've known a little bit about Help Wanted, but it's a little different because if you learn more about the whole story with Help Wanted and all that stuff, you can understand that that's a whole VR system headset kind of thing, where William's trying to take over your body because you have a headset on and he is programmed into the system and he's trying to trap you and he's trying to take over your body and everything, putting his memory in yours and your memory in there.
I have VR. And
well, I mean, if you had Help Wanted in there and all that stuff, but you'll have to like I said, you need to keep going on and more about it and all that stuff and everything like that. Anyway, we keep getting off track. But in the first ever game, you have all the cameras and all stuff, and there's this one camera that shows a blank thing. It's all staticky and all stuff, but you can hear noises and all that stuff later on as the game continues. That's the kitchen. That's where, you know, that's the one kitchen, that is the one place that you can't see, only hear, and usually Chica's in there and all that stuff. But this also applies with the whole Chuck E. Cheese thing where they had someone in the back room, someone in the kitchen, and 3 things in there. That's the only camera that's broken, but there's still someone alive in it, right. You know?
Because as we were watching MatPat, I actually Googled, like, okay, what was Five Nights inspired by, or was it inspired by anything? It basically said, no, it wasn't inspired by anything. We just decided to make the game. But it's like, okay, come on, there's way too much evidence in the game and the timing that obviously you heard about this story, you read it in the news, and you're like, hey, like, this is like, let's make it a game out of it. Yeah. Because, like, in the game, it's like you said, somebody got shot in the kitchen, but the person who got shot in the kitchen, he ended up surviving. So, in Five Nights, that's when, like you said, you hear like heavy breathing. You would hear like, basically, yeah, just like heavy breathing, like somebody's alive in the kitchen, and that's why the kitchen camera is all broken because otherwise, you would think. That's like one of the number one cameras they needed to work because that's where all the employees at, and you want to make sure your employees are working and not just, you know, messing around in the kitchen.
Well, the whole breathing thing does not apply to the whole saying that you can hear breathing and all that stuff because someone has been in there and all that stuff. It's not applying on to, you know, like saying like, oh, you can only just hear it. It's going off of with the whole fact that those are living kids inside that body. Bonnie and Chica grin and, you know, make groaning noises and all that stuff because they used to be human bodies and all that kind of stuff. Because you can hear the pains and cries from kids. You hear Freddie, or not Freddie. You hear Freddie's laugh, which sounds like, you know, it's a normal laugh, but it results in a kid laughing and all that stuff. You hear Golden Freddy, which has like kids laughing, kind of, you know, it's interesting because you have like everyone else besides Foxy does not have any like laughing or moans or pains or grunts or anything. You only have 2 animatronics, Freddy and Chica, who make groaning noises and pain and all that stuff, saying that they used to be living things, and they're trying to get people to like hear them and understand it, saying that these are kids trapped inside of these animatronics and they want to be set free. And then you hear Golden Freddy, who has like the whole kids laughing, all that kind of stuff going off of one of his things. So, you know, like, even finding out before, like, you know, all the kids, you know, have died and everything, you get a really interesting understanding that it's like, wait, I've heard that laugh. I've heard those kinds of laugh before. I heard those grunts, those pains before. And then people are starting to, like, piece the puzzle together, and it's just like, oh my goodness, those are real life kids. They're crying in pain. They've been killed. Someone did this. We have to find out who. Mm-hmm. So
now that I kind of started thinking about it nowadays, I started. I don't know if you heard the song, there's a song called Five More Nights.
Yeah.
It's basically about Five Nights at Freddy.
Yes.
Well, it's basically Freddy and his friends singing and do all that stuff. I kind of started remembering some of the lyrics. That's like, oh, I thought they were just singing, but it's like now it's starting to make more sense. Like right in the beginning, you hear like, "Hi kids." How does it go? Like,
Hi kids, do you like violins? You want me to grab you? Want me to grab you a slice of pizza? Wait, no.
No, it was
Hold
like,
on.
didn't
Wait,
he say
I
like,
know. It's like, hi kids, do you like violins? Want me to grab a
spare bed or something like that and stuff you inside of it?
Oh, let me grab you a suit and stuff you inside it. Something. I don't know the full things, but I know exactly like what you're talking about and all that kind of stuff.
So it's like, now that I'm starting getting the understanding of the lore, now I'm starting getting understanding of the song.
Hi kids, do you like violins? Want me to grab a spare bear suit and stuff you inside it? Got an appetite, grab a couple slices. Mom and Dad won't lie because they think that I was lifeless. And then it says, and it keeps going. It says, what's this? Someone making out in the what's this?
Someone in the main office
making out hours after. It's like, you get a better understanding where it's just like, whoa, hold on. It's just, it's like, hi kids. It's just, do you like violence? You want me to stuff you inside a fucking suit kind of thing?
Well, like later on in the song, they go towards the puppet guy. I forgot what he says.
Did you listen to the music you sold? Does the clock keep ticking? What do you think? Do you remember the original four? Take a look at us now because we're completely poor. And it says we were left to decay in this dark trouble place, to live, to run away. And then he continues saying that don't run out of double A and all that kind of stuff.
See, it's like now I start understanding the lore. If you listen to the lyrics, you kind of understand like these are kids in the animatronics.
Well, if you listen to any of the FNAF songs, you can hear that there's a lot of like them saying like help us, like understand like what happened to us and all that stuff. I've heard a lot of stuff. If you've heard like the original songs for Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, and Chica, each of them describe their own kind of pain and all that stuff. Like Bonnie talks about being replaced with this thing, but he knows he has lifeline. Chica's also like saying like she's this girl who has like a toy that just replaces her and all that stuff. Freddy's saying he's putting the weight on most of his shoulders. He's trying to hold everyone and keeping everyone, going forward and all that stuff. And you have Foxy, who also wants to escape, but his friends don't really understand how he wants to escape. And it's like, you get a better understanding. Foxy wants to escape. Bonnie is being replaced and he feels like nobody wants him or anything like that. Freddy has to hold the pain between all of his friends and all that stuff. Chica's the one that's also like talking about like she's powerful and all that stuff, but also can help out. But she's also being trapped in by this guy in a golden suit and like, keeping them held.
So again, like I'm saying, like I haven't really found out the full story yet, but like, did they say, like, William, was he the phone guy?
No.
Because, like, in the song, later on, there's a part of the song that says, just don't listen to the phone guy. That's when you hear the phone guy's voice.
Yeah, and it's not true. Phone guy is just phone guy. William Afton is just William Afton. Phone guy is a guy who actually, I think, was hired by both William and Henry, so he was probably a night guard and all that stuff who decided to leave messages and all that stuff for new employees, new people, new guards to like come and take the position and all that stuff, since they kept finding out eventually that people are starting to like go, like adults, guards are starting to go missing, and then nobody understands why or what's going on, or like adult guys like do their 1 week of like being a night shift, because this applies to any job where a job actually puts you into the night shift. Like you'll be a day shift person, but then they'll change you into being a night shift person, and you'll have to do like a couple weeks of like doing night shift stuff until you can go back to your regular schedule and just being like suited in the day shift. So you're like, so it's really interesting. But no, he is not the purple guy and all that stuff. A lot of people keep thinking he is. He is 100% not the purple guy. There's a lot of huge differences and all that stuff about it. Purple Guy is just an ordinary security guard that was hired at FNAF to, like, you know, all that kind of stuff until eventually he died.
Well, you gotta remember, too, like, in the mini games, eventually, you know, the purple guy comes after you and he has a security badge. So it's like at one point he did become the security guy just to like
but he wasn't the phone guy.
Yeah. But like what was the reason why? Like was the reason why he became a security guy just to figure out what's making the animatronics?
No, he's figuring out why Henry is still able to, you know, continuing on his business. So he decides to apply as being a night guard and eventually he continues on being a night guard and all that kind of stuff.
And that's when he noticed the
he's trying to sabotage Henry's thing because of like I don't know if you're paying attention much, but you're like getting mixed up with the whole, you know, thinking like,
well, it's because like the way Matt Pat was explaining, he was like, it's like he could be the phone guy, he's not the phone guy.
These are
like William was like
old videos from like 2018. Remember, you're starting from the beginning and you're working your way up. You're starting to get like the first thing where it's like, okay, you believe that the purple guy is the phone guy, okay? Now, going off of retrospect and everything like that, because I want to ask you a question. I want to know why you believe, without knowing much of the whole story, why do you believe purple guy is phone guy?
Well, here's the thing. I'm only going by because can't talk right now. The other thing I'm also guessing is that in the movie, like we all know in the game, purple guy was not the phone guy, but in the movie, that's what they're going to change it to. That it turns out the purple guy is the phone guy.
You're talking about saying like if purple guys. No, they're not going to do that either. They're going to have someone else play the phone guy. Purple guy is his own kind of person. He's not being the phone guy. Like, you gotta know, like, yes, there might be changes going on with the whole FNAF stuff and everything like that, but there is, like, no freaking way that they are going to put William Abbott as the phone guy, because everyone that knows about the whole FNAF genre and fandom and everything like that, everyone knows that if he was the phone guy to begin with, then whoever was phone guy would have been the murderer, and they would have switched places. And that William would have died, and the phone guy would have continued on, taking his replacement and being in the spring locks. But then we still wouldn't know who the guy that switched places with William, if they did eventually, you know, who would he be?
Right.
So it's a little like, it might happen, it might not happen. Like I said, I'm still waiting for the movie to come out, so I'm not trying to talk much about it and trying to put experts into believing, thinking like, oh, they're going to change this and put this character as this. No. You gotta I want to wait until they actually release an actual full trailer of what the real movie is going to be like.
I thought they released a trailer already.
Well, they might re-edit it and refix it and then make a better looking trailer or something. I know it's a trailer and all that stuff. Some people are saying, what if this is the trailer for FNAF? What if the trailer turned out to be like this? What if the trailer like, everyone is making different assumptions and believing how the actual FNAF trailer before the actual movie comes out. You know?
Right.
But I kind of get your understanding that you're getting it off of Matt Pat and all that stuff, saying that, yes, he could be the phone guy and all that stuff. But don't forget, you're beginning this whole theories thing and understanding more about it and everything like that. And you are forgetting a few things. You're not really understanding most of it. You still have questions about it, and I get that, and I totally understand that. Everyone is willing to help you. You're willing to search this up on the internet and, you know, talk more about, like, okay, I understand this part, but what is this part about? Or I don't really get why, you know, purple guy has to be a killer and all that kind of stuff until you start to understand more about, you know, each individual character.
Right. And I think this is going to be interesting, and I don't know about you, but after the movie comes out and, you know, we'll watch it, we could do like a movie review about it and see.
Oh, 100%. We can totally do a movie review and tell you guys like how the movie is different and how things have changed and all that kind of stuff. I would love to just see how they do the movie and everything. I want to just know what they changed, what they decided to add in, and then, get a better understanding
Right.
about, yeah, about the
So
movie
there
and
was this
everything.
one thing I saw on TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, but like somebody like made a comment saying like, "Oh, everyone's excited about Five Nights at Freddy movie. Everyone's really happy about it. They can't really wait to see it." But what people don't understand is that once this movie comes out, that's the end. There's gonna be no more Five Nights.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
well, me being a part of the whole franchise and everything like that, this is Scott's last project to continue forth. He's made games, he's done books, he's done everything. You have games, you have books, you have stories, everything about FNAF. All you just need is a movie to like finish up the puzzle and you're done.
But how do you feel about that? Like, are you sad about it? Are you happy about it? Like,
I mean, I am proud that Scott decides to give us a movie and that we can actually experience, we have what we went through as a child and growing up with it. And it's just something I enjoy, and I'm really just wanting to see that movie and everything. But I'm also kind of sad that they're ending the fandom and all that stuff. But I still want people to like keep bringing up the fandom and all that stuff. Yes, I know it's a dead fandom, and I understand it's like a dead thing that not much people talk about and everything. But I still want it to keep going, Like, still keep bringing cosplays about it. Still keep talking about the story, Maybe, like, get more details from the movie, make theories about it, and, continuing on and, like, oh, shoot, I just hit the mic. God damn it. Whoa, that happened to me. But, like, you're just, like, you want to keep it moving forward. You don't just want to, like, stop it there, even though that's where it ends. It's just you have a movie and that's it. It's sad that it's, like, nobody wants to, like, talk about it. Nobody wants to, like, see it or interact with it or anything. It's just once the movie comes out, I feel like everyone's just going to forget about it,
Well, because, like, it's like you said earlier, it's like, well, for whatever reason, I can't really talk. But it's like what you said earlier. They're adding Veronica in the movie. But it's like, why are they adding her when she wasn't there in the beginning?
Well, you can kind of understand. I mean, once you start getting more into the understanding of who Veronica is and all that stuff, she's like this employee that wants to work as a night guard and all that kind of stuff in Sister Location. But she somehow was brainwashed by William Afton and eventually started working on William's side. So you can kind of get a better understanding that she was brainwashed by William to have her continue like her being of like like killing kids and continuing on forth and like his like with his mind but with her looks and all that stuff kind of thing. I'm thinking as like he still wants to kill people and all that kind of stuff, but he can't do that since he's like an animatronic and he's getting to the point where he's like slowly decaying and dying and all that kind of stuff.
What if that's what's going to happen in the movie? Like, it turns out that Veronica is actually William, like, in Veronica's body, and I don't know. I got a feeling something is going to happen in the movie that involves William. Because it has to involve William in a way.
It is 100% going to involve William. If we're being totally honest, William is basically like the whole main character in the whole FNAF series. Because he's the villain who kills these people and he's trying to be stopped by those who he has killed. But then you also have, I know this is from Sister Location, I know he's not going to be in there, but you have Gregory, who is like this mischief robot kid. He is a robot, by the way. It's interesting because I never knew about that until after. I was like, wait, he's a robot? And then I get an understanding where it's like, okay, because of the whole scientist stuff and everything like that. But if someone were to come, like, from, I don't know, William's past to try to stop him, it's any of the kids that are, like, revenge and all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, it would just be the puppet. Like, if we're trying to do our thing where there's a hero and there's a villain, the hero is the puppet, the villain is William Afton, and they're like fighting, trying to like, let these kids free. No, rotten hell, I'm gonna continue more. I'm more powerful than you. I can destroy you. I can kill you again even if I have to. But he's also wanting to get out of that suit and to going back to being like a real human. I don't know. You need, like I said, you still need to get like more into.
And see, when people were making fan videos of Five Nights and Dead by Daylight, they always use Springtrap as the killer.
Because he would technically
he's
be the
William.
main killer.
I honestly didn't understand. I was like, wait, I don't understand why they use this rabbit when Freddy's like the main character. Why don't they add him instead of the bunny? But now I got a more clear understanding. Like, okay, now I understand why they added the bunny, as he's gonna be the main killer if they ever added him.
He goes from being Spring Bonnie to Springtrap to more influence of Springtrap until it's like it's still Springtrap, but they come up with different names and all that kind of stuff. Once you learn more about each of the stuff, because once you start playing the games, which I really recommend that you do, and do the puzzles and everything, and get a better understanding, you're just like, okay, now I get it. Now I get a better understanding it, and
most likely I'll play the games. And for you followers, fans, I will play it on my Twitch channel. It's that way you guys can see me shit my pants while I play this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys also want to see me play the games from beginning to thing, let me know also as well. I'm willing to actually play this game because, like I said, I am a very big fan of it. And I'm also willing to also play Security Breach for you guys as well. I'd have to also get the game and all that kind of stuff. But I'm willing to do it. But the only game I'm not doing is Help Wanted. I cannot. I love Help Wanted and everything. I love the whole gist of it where it's a real life experience and it's creepy and I love it and it's just like, oh my god, this is so real. But at the same time, I just don't really like that,
Is it the jump scares you don't like? Because I'll admit, that's the number one thing I hate about horror games. It's the fucking jump scares.
It's the whole having to go through all the same games that you just played before, replaying it. Mm-hmm. Like if you're playing like the first ever game up until then, and then you start to play Help Wanted, you're just replaying your progress and continuing forth. Like me personally, I don't like to redo something that I've already like done it in a whole series. Because I know a lot of people really like to complete the series and all that stuff. And I get that and I understand that. And I'm not judging you guys for it. But it's like you're redoing the same thing but in a virtual reality. And everyone's just like, yeah, because you're just doing it in virtual reality. So it's a lot different. And, and I get that and I understand that.
Well, for someone who hasn't played the game at all, this will be a really good experience for me. So I haven't seen any videos. I have not seen any Markiplier playing Five Nights.
Well, you have it on your PC, so I might be able to do it that way instead of actually being in the VR and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I can't do VR. That shit will freaking scare the living crap out of me.
Yeah, it's still, listen, anything terrifies me, because if I play jump scares, I tend to freak out and all that kind of stuff. Because, sure, when I play the FNAF stuff, I might scream and all that stuff, but then I'll start laughing and be like, ha, yeah, I get that, you fucking scared me. Yeah, I think that's so funny, and then it happens again, it's like, alright, you know what, I'm getting tired of this. It's not gonna happen. It's terrifying. Like, if you are there in a full headset, listening to the gameplay, you get scared. Because you don't know when something's gonna come out of nowhere.
Or especially when Foxy is charging at you.
Oh, no, I know exactly how to deal with Foxy. You're supposed to check his thing. If he's not there, get out of the cameras, close the door, check the hallway. That's how you're supposed to do it. Your most main causes are to only check out the outside of your doors of the hallway, Freddy, and Foxy. That's it. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't always have to check Foxy, but you don't have to keep checking all the cameras. You only have to keep an eye on Freddy. If Freddy starts moving, you're going to panic, but you also have to stay calm and make sure, like, oh no, like, keep an eye on him, make sure he's not at the doors. Your only best bet is to look at both of your doors, Foxy's camera and Freddy's camera. Those are your only 4 cameras that you only have to check. Those are, like, the most important ones you have. You have any other ones, but,
Yeah, but they're not important.
They're not important. They're just more of like you can actually see the whole store and everything like that. Not the whole store. You actually get to see the whole pizza place, and I like it and all that stuff, but your main focus to only focus on 4 animatronics and, you know, get a better understanding of where they might be and all that stuff. You can check to see where they went, and then if they move, then it's like, okay, how is their rhythm? Who goes down this hallway? Who goes down this hallway, you know?
Right. We are about to reach the 5-minute mark. Is there any like last minute things you want to say before we end this podcast?
Well, honestly, I really like that you're slowly starting to get into the whole Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and I know you're still learning and everything like that. And I like how you're starting to like something that I have liked since I was really, really young, and that I've ever started since it first came out and everything. And I enjoy that. I also enjoy making like podcasts with you and getting to talk about more about this, and you know, we're having a good time chatting, discussing, getting our own opinions and thoughts out. And I really like that because I get to understand more of you, what you're believing, and then you get to understand what I'm really knowing because I'm really a huge fan of this. And then, yeah.
So for the last 5 minutes, just real quick, I wanted to talk about the new killer on Dead by Daylight. It has been announced. Yes, it turns out it was not a fan video. They didn't actually play the whole thing, so as far as we know, the new killer is about a female who is very good with robotics, and she has like claws for, you know, as a weapon. But we saw her Mori. Her Mori was literally the same thing as Freddy. What do you think about that?
I mean, it is a little different, but it does give off that significant thing that Freddy does when he kills people and all that stuff. I don't like that they actually decided to give the exact same Mori that Freddy had to the new killer.
You know what I'm thinking? It's that either one, they're just running out of ideas, or two, they finally decide to give Freddy a different Mori instead of, like, you know, him coming up behind somebody and slashing them right
But
through.
that's his, like, significant way of killing people. That's his Mori. You can't, if you change it, people
Well,
are
I'm just
gonna,
saying,
like, not really, like...
I wouldn't
like
really
that.
say, like, change it, but it's like, you know, he's known as a nightmare person, so it's like now his Moris can be more nightmare-ish.
Yeah, but like I said, it's better to not change his name because that's his significant way of, like, going on and, you know, continuing on with, like, who he is and all that stuff ever since, like, the whole Nightmare on Elm Street came out.
I kind of think that every killer should have at least
Their
two
own.
or three different Moris
to,
like, mix it up a little bit.
I think, me personally, they should just have their own kind of Moris. Because I know for Pyramid Head, he has at least...
He has, like, 2 different Moris.
He has 2 different Moris, but he has a lot of ways of, like, hooking people who can also get killed that way. So it's basically like he has 2 Moris, but one is an actual proper Mori. One is a one where it's like it's an end quick Mori, right. And then you also have his, like, Cage of Torment, which can kill people.
Okay, but rewinding a few steps before we get too far ahead. So for the new killer, we basically know she's going to be a tracking killer because she has, like, tracking devices, she has the drones. What are your thoughts about the new killer?
I was drinking. I don't know why you decided to be like, hey, why don't you know, like, answer this, that, and all that stuff. You couldn't just wait a bit and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, my thoughts about it, if, like, it's a drone and everything, I think it's really cool because it's like a Terminator kind of killer and all that stuff. I just like, you know, like how it looks, how she is, all that kind of... I like it. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's terrible. It is a Terminator, so it's like, yeah, I can see why it could fit into Dead by Daylight because this is a Terminator killing innocent people that, you know, have probably done something, but it's not really true. So she's basically just killing, you know.
Right, and a lot of people were, like, saying how they were disappointed that they were kind of hoping for a robot. But then I saw somebody made a comment saying, like, hey, maybe later in the future she'll get a skin robot. Which I think that would be really cool.
I think they might do that. I think they might give her, like, a skin or, like, something to make her look like as a robot. Or maybe another Terminator that's joining in that's also, like, you know, a skin that she has and all that stuff. Instead of a female one, you also get a male one. You know, it's like, there's little things that you can get from Dead by Daylight, but that's only a way until they actually decide to go with it and be like, yeah, we'll give her a skin. We'll give her this.
All right. So we are now at the last minute. I want to say thank you all for listening to our podcast. I hope you guys enjoy this.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. If you have any questions about, what we talked about, you can leave those in the comments down below. You can also DM me on my Instagram, or you can DM Align Mask on...
I have a Twitter, Instagram, Discord, so you can reach out, and we'll try our best to get back to you.
Yeah.